feeling for each of those things, and they're good feelings, good memories.
You have the luxury, because you were a local boy and grew up just north of here, northwest of here, out in Jolton area.
Yes,
right?
Yes, that's correct.
You went to school in Goodlettsville. Am I right on that?
No, I went to school in Jolton.
Did you?
Actually,
Okay.
sure did. Lived in the Ridgetop area, but inside Davidson County. So just inside Davidson County. So northwest Davidson County is where I'm from. Have pretty deep roots going back into the Whites Creek community. My mother's family is from there. My mother's family, I should say. My mother's father's family was from Jolton. My dad's family was from Jolton and points more to the north and the west. But we were all from that area.
And I'm sure that this station carries into their generation and before.
Well, it does. And one of the reasons I'm sitting here talking to you tonight, Eddie, one of the reasons I became associated with WSM was because of hearing my parents talk about it.
Really?
That was the station they listened to. I will say that they listened to other stations for sure, but whenever they would talk about their fond memories of growing up, it was listening to the Grand Ole Opry on the radio or listening to something else on WSM. I've heard my dad talk many times about shows he heard on this station. Obscure things, somebody with a guitar, playing. He loved to listen to Bradley Kincaid, for instance, during those years when Bradley was on the station doing live shows. And hearing that kind of thing inspired me, for whatever reason, to actually pursue a career in radio, which in my mind was really pursuing a career at WSM. That's what my jumping off place would be.
And you got to live your dream.
I did. I'm very lucky. I'm one of the very fortunate people that got to do that, and wouldn't take anything for it.
And being a local boy, because not everybody had that opportunity. I was listening to the station 650 miles away, back in my hometown of Gaithersburg, Maryland, and this was the red carpet that carried Nashville to me. And I dare say it was that way for a lot of people, because in the days before interstate highways, days before people got on planes frequently and traveled, or even after that time, people pick up and go at a drop of a hat today. But, we were growing up in the 60s and 70s, people weren't doing that. They weren't quite that mobile yet. That would come in time. But for so many people, this was as close to Nashville as they would ever get. And that radio being theater of the mind, and listening to Ralph Emery on the all-night show, and whoever he was going to have in playing country music, or the Grand Ole Opry, or the Ernest Tubb Midnight Jamboree following the Opry. This was it was sacred.
It was big too. I was thinking as you were playing that Cowboy Copas track a while ago, again, harking back to the feeling of hearing that performance on the radio, and how that must have hit people hundreds of miles from here when they heard it. And it made Nashville sound big. It made WSM sound big, and it was. There were a lot of people who worked here at this station that played and sang and did all the things that made the programming happen here. And it to me, you were saying it was the red carpet that brought Nashville to you. To me, it was home. To me, this station symbolizes more than anything else home for me. This is Nashville, Tennessee. WSM is Nashville, and it's big. It's the center of everything that happens here. And again, I'm kind of wandering off into territory I can't really describe, but I think maybe some people know what I'm talking about.
Well, one of the great things that you've heard it said through the years, and we talk about this at night, is that radio is theater of the mind, and you get in your mind images of what's going on. And if you were listening to you and myself tonight, somebody's listening on the radio or online, as we have been since 2000, that was under your watch when that all
very well
happened.
When that happened.
And they're listening perhaps in Africa or Iraq. I've gotten emails from servicemen and women that are listening to this station over there.
I hope we're taking a little bit of home back to them.
Yeah, me too. And they're getting images in their mind. Well, I wonder what the studio looks like. I wonder what the weather's like. Wonder what kind of a party they had today. Gosh, I would love to have been there.
Yeah.
But this station really is bigger than ever. But at night, with that skywave getting into 38 states and parts of Canada, and since 2000, worldwide on the internet, and here in more recent times, the mobile app, it's been speculated that we have more listeners digitally than we do terrestrially, if you can believe that.
Well, it goes on and on, doesn't it? 90 years and people are still listening to it and still talking about it.
And still cutting edge in that regard.
That's right. And it was cutting edge when it went on the air in 1925. They had the best equipment that could be had. They spared no expense in making this station great. That tower out there that we've mentioned a couple of times today in Brentwood, that was top of the line. When they got the authorization to go to 50,000 watts and put up a big tower like that, they went all the way. You can look at that building out there and just see the construction, the way they built that transmitter building. That thing's built like a tank.
It's a fortress.
It was built to stand 300 or 400 years, not just 90. But it's not quite 90 years old. But you know what I mean. It's they did everything first class, and there's still that tradition here.
Well, that tower site today is a very special birthday for it. It went into use on October 5th, 1932, on the 7th birthday of the station. So that's 83 years that big tower has been in place.
Well, you'll be celebrating 90 years of that soon.
We sure will. Kyle Cantrell is with us. We've got some special programming unrelated to country music that you would have heard on this station coming up after weather. I want you to stay tuned for that. We'd like to say congratulations to today's Facebook fan of the day, and that happens to be Tuffy Thompson of Malk, Georgia. Like us on Facebook to be the fan of the day and win some great WSM prizes too. Log on to facebook.com/WSM radio. It's 7:38 in America's Music City, 650 AM WSM, and worldwide at WSMonline.com.
The year was 1925. The average cost of a new car was $290. And in Nashville, 650 AM WSM signed on for the first time.
Thank you to Murfreesboro Outdoors for being part of 650 AM WSM's 90th birthday celebration. Murfreesboro Outdoors, where quality, knowledge, and friendship matter most.
Okay, so the fish is a little small.
What are you talking about small? That thing's a minnow.
Yeah, well, you should have seen the one that nearly broke my line. That thing was huge. It must have been 3 feet long.
Whatever. I don't even want to hear it. The only thing longer than that fish is the story that you're trying to feed me.
Get a custom-fitted rod and reel today from Murfreesboro Outdoors. They carry the finest fishing equipment and supplies at the best prices. With over 20 years of experience and expertise, Murfreesboro Outdoors can make your next big fishing story a reality. Murfreesboro Outdoors, 20